Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm super excited to bring you a special video featuring a free VOD review for a new member of my Discord community. This bronze player didn't want to jump on a call, so I offered to do a live game, a VOD review, or create a video breaking down their gameplay to help them climb. They chose the video, and that's what we are diving into today. In this VOD, we will go through their game, analyze their mistakes, and discuss what they could have done differently to turn the tides and potentially carry. Spoiler alert, this game didn't go their way, but I'm going to explain exactly why and share tips to level up their skills. If you are looking for a similar free coaching experience, join my Discord server. Link in the description. All it takes is hopping in and you could be next. If you enjoy this kind of content, smash that like button to let me know you want more and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm a jungle main dedicated to dropping weekly educational jungle content to help you escape any rank. I have been stuck in Elo hell myself, so I get the struggle and I'm here to help you climb in weeks, not months or years. For those wanting even deeper insights, I also offer paid coaching sessions where we dive way more in depth than this review. But this video will give you a solid taste of what my coaching looks like, especially for new Discord members. You have got nothing to lose, so stick around, learn something new, and let's get climbing. But I have to start with a disclaimer. As I mentioned, this is not a super in-depth review. I won't go over the whole game because the first 10 to 15 minutes are the most important parts of the game. If you can fix those early mistakes and be consistent, you will win way more games. This video will only highlight the biggest mistakes which are common in this elo bracket, and this person is not alone. So before we do anything, we have to decide where to bet, which lane is our win condition we have to look for, and for that, we have to look at lane matchups, and you should do this obviously when all temp champs have been logged in. You don't even have to go this in depth as I do right here, but this is my thought process and this is how I teach it to everyone. These are three things you have to consider when deciding where to start your jungle clear. So first, I'm going to explain the three terms: volatility, gank ability, and mobility. So what does volatility mean? It means how likely a lane is to swing dramatically in terms of kills, deaths, or lane pressure, due to the champion, kit's playstyle, or matchup dynamics. A volatile lane might see frequent trades, all-ins, or snowbally outcome. This lane requires jungle impact, so it can have snowball the lane and the jungle as well. You know, the most famous champions for this are like Draven, for example, who can snowball with only one kill. Or on top lane, we have something like Riven. So next, gank ability. How easy it is for a jungler to successfully gank a lane. Based on factors like the enemy's escape tools, crowd control, or CC from your laner, or the enemy's positioning, this all depends. Mobility. How mobile the enemy laners or laner is, considering their movement abilities. Dashes, blinks, speed boost, you name it. That affect their ability to, which affects their ability to escape ganks or roam effectively. And for this, let's break down. Now we are familiar with the terms. Let's break down each lane by these points. First, we have Gragas versus Aatrox, right? So, how volatile is top lane in your opinion? You can pause the video and comment down below and unpause it and see how you actually answered my question. So Gragas and Aatrox are both durable fighters, right? With sustain, Gragas has his passive, Aatrox has healing. They can trade heavily, but neither is likely to instantly die without overextending. The matchup can tilt if one gains a lead, making it moderately volatile. What about gank ability? Aatrox has no hard escape, only a small dash, his E. And Gragas has CC, his E, and he has his ult as well to set up ganks. However, Aatrox sustain and tankiness make kills harder unless he is low or overextended. And on top of that, Gragas doesn't have good CC. it's really easy to miss his E, and it's really easy to miss his ult as well. When we are talking about CC and we are considering good setup from our team, I'm thinking about stuff like Nautilus ult, Nautilus auto attack, something point and click, very easy to land, that's guaranteed good CC. Yeah, we don't really have that good of a setup from our top laner, and it's fair to say that many kills won't happen on top lane either. But what about mobility? Aatrox has a short dash, has E, but is not highly mobile. Gragas has his E as well, and on top of that in this game he has phase rush. But that's not important for us, since he's in our team. But even when we are facing someone like Garen, and if they are running phase rush, we have to consider that, because if they proc phase rush, then we're gonna have a really hard time killing them. So we have to consider these things. So I would say Aatrox, not very mobile, doesn't have mobility really, despite having his ult and having his small dash. But let's move on and go on to the mid lane. Oh, and before I go to the mid lane, let's talk still about top lane for a second. Both laners have TP. That generally means that's gonna be a really safe lane. They usually look to scale, and even if they trade, they're gonna heal back, or if someone took a really bad trade, that just means they are going to recall and TP back to lane. So in general, if top laners have double TP, you can avoid that lane. You can't really expect too much to happen there. Sure, sometimes that might change depending on the rank you're playing as well, but in general, you probably should avoid that lane. But now, moving to the mid lane, we have Mal against Teemo. Teemo is a really, really weird lane, really weird pick to see on mid lane. But let's break down what Teemo wants to do on mid lane. Well, in terms of how volatile mid lane is, Teemo will look to harass this Mal and will look to spam W most likely, just because this is bronze, and look to spam Q as well on Mal, because Mal will have a range advantage on Teemo. So Teemo will have a hard time and probably will get bored really fast by being hit all the scale shots Mal has. And Teemo probably will going to overextend a lot. So I would say it's very volatile, not because of Mal, but because of Teemo and how probably Teemo will play this matchup. Meanwhile, Mal has a really long range and she also has TP. So she probably is on the safer side, but Teemo should be volatile. Even though mid lane is not a priority for us, because we are not deciding towards which lane we are looking to path based on mid lane, because we can impact mid lane anytime anyway, right? So just have to keep this in mind. In terms of gank setup, well, Mal has a CC, but nothing too crazy. So at least we consider that, but it's nothing too reliable, really. And in terms of mobility, we have Teemo W, which gives a small boost of movement speed, but again, that's nothing too crazy either. So because that lane is really short, I would say this time it will be enough for Teemo to escape, but in general, that's not a reliable escape tool either. So I would say it's fairly gankable, and Teemo doesn't really have any mobility. The most important and the last lane will be bot lane. Ezreal strat against Jean Morgana. Those who are more experienced probably have a good feeling and already can tell that bot lane will fight a lot. We have two mages. So in terms of how volatile bot lane is super volatile. When we have two mages, they are generally looking to fight all the time because all they offer is damage. Sarat has heal, sure, but usually they will take Ignite. This could be a Sarat, Zyra, Lux, you name it. Enemy has Morgana with Ignite. Here she offers a spell shield as well, and she offers a pretty solid CC for her team, but she mainly offers damage, and she will look to fight you all the time. Sarat does the same. These supports are really annoying to have as AD carry because they just constantly fight, they miss position, and then blame you, and then type at the end of the game that they had more damage than you, so you suck. When they pretty much just auto-lost you the lane with their aggression and playing like an animal. But moving on. So it's really volatile. On top of that, Jhin is fairly strong early on. Ezreal will look to poke a lot, so you can expect a lot of trading. I wouldn't be surprised if these two, or I mean these four, would all in level 1 and just coin flip it, because why not? In terms of ganks, Jhin is a very immobile AD carry. First, he gets a boost of movement speed whenever he crits. So after his 4 shot, he will get a small movement speed boost, but nothing crazy. And Morgana is a very immobile and slow support as well. Sure, she has some defensive tools like her spell shield and her Q, but besides that, those spells have a long cooldown, so she is really immobile, and you can expect to actually catch her whenever she is going for a deeper ward or something like that, or if she is wasting her spell shield on Jhin, then she's pretty much dead. Especially from Master Yi's perspective, you can easily dodge her Q with a well-timed Q as well, and Sarat has some CC and has some slows as well, but it's nothing too crazy, so I wouldn't really rely on it. So I would say it's alright. It's not great, but it's alright. And in terms of volatility, it's very volatile. And you can expect a lot of things to happen here, a lot of fighting, a lot of kills. So it's basically the opposite of top lane so far, right? And if we talk about mobility, like I said, Jhin is very mobile, Morgana same, despite having some defensive tools. So from a jungle perspective, from your perspective, from your POV, it's pretty good lane to gank. You don't have the best gank setup ever from your team, but anyway. So now that we actually know which lane is worth ganking, we should agree that starting on the top side is the best and safest bet for us, right? So let's move forward and see what's going on. So it looks like we are going to start on bot side. And this is not a mistake, but I want to point this out since it's a common question. And it's not about the bot side start. Because we can agree, after the things I said earlier, bot side start is the wrong move this time. So like in this case, where he is, it's a great war spot. You can avoid being invaded, and it provides a lot of information. So even if they end up invading you, when they have a good setup for it, like Morgana Q, you will spot them in time, so you know if they ever late invade you or something's going on. Let me change this back to red, and I'm talking about this war spot. Right? If you are on red side like this time, then this is a really great war spot. And it doesn't matter if you start on blue or start on your own red buff, this war spot is generally safe, and your laner should be hovering this, but since this is bronze, let's move on. So you can ward here. If you would be starting on the opposite side and you would be on blue side, then the red entrance is really good to ward right there. Of course, same thing, you can ward your top entrance as well, or same thing if you were on blue side and you want to defend your blue quadrant. So these 4 war spots, I'm gonna mark it on the minimap, and so please make your minimap bigger. This is probably the smallest minimap I have ever seen someone using in League. So we are starting on blue, which is fine, whatever. At this point, since we already decided to start here, let's see how we are playing next. So, just in the first 2 minutes, we arrived to the second big topic, which honestly worth a separate video on its own. So comment down below if you would like to see a video about this concept. Next, let me explain what is kiting and why it is so important for junglers to master this with any champion they play. I'm not sure how much this person knows about kiting, but I'm gonna explain this concept in general just because I want to be as informative as possible, not just for him, but for everyone else who is in bronze, just started league, or they are in silver, because I see this in those ranks as well, or perhaps even they are in iron, and this will be really helpful for them as well. So let me explain what is the patient bar, what is kiting, and what is the patient range as well. Just so we clarify the terms and you have a better understanding, because you might hear this term, but you might not know what does this even mean if you haven't played different games which offer kiting, which has kiting mechanic as well, like League. So in League, the patient range of jungle camps is a key mechanic that determines how far you can pull or kite jungle monsters from their spawn point before they start to lose patience and reset. For a bronze player who doesn't kite jungle camps, understanding this concept can significantly improve your jungle clears, health management, and overall gaming impact. So please, you have to learn this. And I'm talking to some of the silver players as well. Like, you have to learn these terms and use it game by game. It's super important. So what is patient range? Patience range basically means each jungle camp, like red buff, blue buff, raptors, etc., you name it, has an invisible circular area around its spawn point called the patience range. In this case, we can see this circle around the blue buff. I'm talking about this circle. I'm going to mark it with red so you see it better and you have a better understanding of this. So this will be the patient range. And we're going to have a patient bar as well, which we saw just a second ago. Let me go back here. I'm going to make this yellow and highlight this line. So you see that yellow line, and I made it bigger so you actually can see it what I'm talking about. When you attack a jungle monster, it has a patience bar that starts full if you pull the monster too far outside its patience range or stop attacking it for too long. The patient bar goes down. If it runs out, the monster resets, regains health, and returns to its spawn point. I'm sure everyone experienced this before, and unfortunately, this is just a jungle life thing. You have to experience it. So this is what I'm talking about. We see the health bar and we see the patience bar as well. And here the key point is the patience bar only starts going down if both you, the champion, and the monster are outside the patience range. If you stay inside the circle, so basically this, let's not comment on the shape of this circle. So if you stay inside this area, obviously you can't go behind the wall with the camp because it would reset. So basically, as long as you stay inside this area, this patient bar won't start going down. In this case, Master E is resetting the patient bar and it starts dropping aggro because Master E used his Q, so he's untargetable. And the camp, since it doesn't see any opponent nearby and the coding of the game doesn't understand it that someone is actually out attacking the camp, it just starts resetting. So basically, if you stay inside the circle, you put the monster quite far without it resetting as long as you keep attacking. For a bronze player, this means you can move the monster around a bit within or near its patience range to take less damage or save time, but you need to be careful not to put it too far or stop attacking, or it will reset and waste your time. Like I said, this most likely happened to everyone before. So just keep this line in mind, every camp has this. But I was talking about kiting as well, and I will give you a really simple guide how kiting works and how you should be kiting your camp. So, what is kiting first of all? Kiting is the act of attacking a jungle monster while moving to avoid taking as much damage as possible, obviously. It's like dancing around the monster. Hit, move, hit, move. You heard the term kiting from players who are playing ADC. Even a melee champ can kite. So it's not just for jungle camps, so it's not just against the jungle camps, it's against everyone, really. It's definitely worth practicing against your jungle monster because the jungle camp won't kill you, but an opponent might kill you if you are not good enough at kiting. For range champions, obviously, like Kindred or Graves, these are easier to kite because you can auto-attack the monster from a distance. So it's way easier to dodge auto-attack the monster auto-attack with those gems. But for melee champions like Master Yi, kiting, even though it's trickier, since you are closer, you can still move slightly between attacks to reduce damage or position better. So the basic kiting technique, like I said a few seconds ago, attack, then move. After you auto-attack a monster, immediately step back or to the side towards your next camp or towards a safer spot. So as long as you stay in this range, you are pretty much safe since it won't reset. So generally, as a jungler, you want to kite and want to make sure the camp dies before the patient bar goes to 0, obviously. And this is what the basic kiting means. It's like dancing. Attack, move back, attack, move back. And here the timing will be crucial. Watch the monster's attack animation. Everyone has an auto attack animation, your champion and the monsters as well. So right before it attacks, step back so it starts moving instead of hitting you. Then attack again when your auto attack is ready. For example, with red buff or blue buff in this case, try to land like 2 auto attacks, depending really on your champion, then step back and repeat without leaving the patience range. Stay in the patience range, keep an eye on the patience circle, move it in the circle or just outside slightly, but don't go too far or the patience bar will start draining. Another really important part here is to actually move outside of the patience range when the camp is in between 200 to 300 HP. That will give you enough time to actually kill the camp while it's already losing patience without actually resetting the camp. Don't be scared to make mistakes. It's fine, but with some practice you can get used to it easily. So let's keep watching. And let's see if it's only this camp or we actually ignore kiting all of our camps. In the meantime, as expected, bot lane is fighting, or more like dying, both Zerat and Ezreal are dying, or I mean, for now, Zerat is full HP. What if he looks to trade out attacks with Jhin? Won't win. He won't win that, and he dies. Okay, so we are not kiting our Gromp either. Now, I'm not saying we could have avoided that by betting towards bot lane. I just want to highlight how important it is to bet towards the right lane, because that way you will be able to snowball more often. Just from the loading screen, I mean, you guys saw the tab and we were already in game. You saw just from my analysis and just from my thought process early on, by following simple rules, simple concepts, I already knew from start that we can expect a lot of action happening on bot lane, right? So, since this is a common mistake that you are not kiting the camp, this obviously needs some practice. You might not be aware of this mistake at all, but this definitely needs some practice, and just go in the practice mode and try it for yourself. For example, try to reset the camp a few times and see how long you can actually guide the camp before it starts resetting. And I want to stop the video or like the VOD once again, because the next mistake here is that you smited red buff. Please don't do that. You don't want to smite your second buff, sure, if you're being invaded and there's a fight, then you want to smite it. But in general, if everything goes as planned and you are just full clearing your jungle, you don't want to waste your second smite. You want to save it for you want to save the second smite for the scatter grab. Even without smiting your camp for the second time, you should be able to full clear before the scatter spawn. For this, it is highly recommended to check some guides or challenger streamers who are playing your champion. In the meantime, Viego is ganking mid and he's coming from the bot side. So now we know he's starting location. Since he's showing up from bot side, that means one thing. He must have started on the top side, and while he finished his red buff, he saw that there is a gank on mid lane. Map awareness is key for junglers. We didn't check lane states once while clearing our jungle. We have a nice Master E skin, but just by looking at it, we won't win games. We would know if we would look mid if Viego has red buff, or if he had a slow bad clear and his red is still up because he couldn't finish it, or just to see in general what's going on there. Like, is he going to flash or something? When the character icons are really close to each other on the minimap, you always want to look at the lane and see for yourself what's going on to gather information. This is a really basic but really useful concept. So pinging bot lane is a good thing, but you want to look and see what's up. Then the first time we look at top, finally, that's the first time. There is a fighting and Gragas died. But we only looked at top when we are already there. If you're betting towards the lane, you definitely want to look at that lane sooner, because once again, you want to gather as much information as possible. If you miss a flash or a huge fight Perhaps after level 6, you miss that someone used do it. Like, for example, Amumu was ganking your lane and you don't pay attention to it, and Amumu actually used do it. You don't know for the next fight if you can take that fight or not, or does Amumu has ult or not. And I just, or something like even as small as Garen ult or Mordekaiser ult for top lane. It's super important to keep track of these things, and you can only do this if you are actually looking at your lanes whenever the enemy jungler is ganking them or whenever there is action on the lane. Like, you want to look time to time to your top lane. If you're patting towards top, then between your camps, look just for 1 or 2 seconds, look at top lane. Same goes if you are going for bot lane. Just look at your lanes consistently. You don't have to admire your skin, you don't have to watch the next camp you are putting towards or anything fancy like that. Look at your lanes and you will gather way more information like that, and you will have way better decision making like that. But after all, because our jungle clear was super slow and we didn't pay attention and check what's happening on top, we couldn't skip Krugs either and actually gank top sooner, because this death of Gragas was avoidable by faster and better jungle clear and more map awareness, looking more often at your minimap and looking more often at your lanes. So now we cannot kill this guy and we have to get the scuttle crab. So because our jungle clear was super slow and we didn't pay attention and check what's happening on the top, we couldn't skip our Krugs and actually gank top sooner. And we are even typing in team chat and blaming our bot lane for dying to Viego, which is again a big mistake, because we should be patting towards bot lane and we should be there to see what's up on bot lane. How much HP does Viego have? How much HP does Morgana have? How much HP does Jhin have? Because our bot lane died. So they probably traded. And we want to see these things. We already missed the gank opportunity on top because our clear was super slow. We got scuttle, which is at least a good thing. And after the scuttle, you should be recalling. Why? Because Viego's top side shouldn't be up. And that's why I paused the video once again. Like, after killing your jungle camp, it takes 2 minutes and 30 seconds to respawn. So in general, the camp will not spawn sooner than 4 minutes 15 seconds. Considering this is a lower elo game, you can expect to spawn around 4 minutes 20 up to 4 minutes 30 even. So a small time waste there, but nothing too crazy. Let's see if you recall after. This mistake alone wouldn't be too bad considering all the previous mistakes, and we are only in the first 4 minutes of the game. So let's see what we do next. Obviously, we're gonna pat towards bot. Like, look, at 4 minutes 23, that's when our Gromp respawned. And that's when Viego's top will be respawning, because we checked his top side. We now have his camp timer and it will spawn soon. So that's 4 minutes 28. And now we are finally pressing tab, but I think this is more like a frustration thing and just being mad at our bot lane losing. Meanwhile, top is pretty much losing at this stage as well. And the only winning lane is mid lane, while we didn't have an impact on the enemy. Or, I mean, we didn't have an impact on the game at all so far. So let's pause the video here once again. The next mistake will be this dragon call, because I expect to see the way he clicked that he will look to get this dragon. And sure, you are on your second clear, just finished blue quadrant, then you want a Drake, because why not? But let's look at the minimap and see if this is a good idea. People from high rank should already say Viego should be on top side, since he started top and cleared towards bottom, so he should be on his wolves or somewhere around there, close to the mid lane. But I don't want you to go too in depth into jungle tracking too much, because once again, there's a different topic. I feel like that would be too much info after all these things. You should learn leagues step by step, concept by concept, instead of trying to master everything at once. But the reason I stopped the VOD here once again is because Mar just got a kill on Teemo. She has no mana, so she wants to reset. You can clearly see Ral has no mana. In the meantime, top is fighting. So even though we are on bot lane, we want to check what's going on top. Just from looking at bot lane and how close the icons are, I'm thinking bot lane must be fighting as well. Let's play the VOD and see what's going on. So we saw that Morgana flashed and she also dies. This just tells me to look at the bot lane, since we want to see what's up. Jhin should be on low HP as well, or at least I'm expecting this, but we are not looking. And we might be able to dive this Jhin and punish him further. We can call Jhin, and I think we can kill Jhin and clean up before Viego gets to bot lane and kills our laners instead. Because that's already expected to happen here. And the answer to that is, to the question why, is really simple. Viego just finished his top side quadrant, right? He even ganked mid lane and killed, almost killed our mid laner. So we know for a fact that he's in the bottom side of his jungle. His camps are up. So he's farming those camps at this point. But we, as Mastery, are low on HP after Dragon. And logically, if Viego finishes his bot side quadrant, what is he going to do next? What is he going to look for next? Bot lane, where Ezreal has no HP, Serrat, who has half HP and below half mana, or mid lane, where Mal is not present yet, or he will look to recall when he just recalled 1 minute ago, or like 2 minutes ago, almost 2 minutes ago. What do you think? Is he going to recall? Well, obviously no. Why would he? He just spent his gold. He barely has any gold. He has like 300 gold at this point. Mal is not gankable because she is not on lane. And bot lane, well, they are just pretty much free food for any jungler who is paying close attention to the minimap and actually uses F keys to see what's going on. And I'm gonna talk about something more advanced, even though I just said a few seconds ago that I don't want to go too in depth, and you might not notice this play after killing wolves, so I want to go back to the time where we actually killed wolves. After killing wolves, you can go towards your raptors and finish your full clear. You don't have to stop and go for this dragon, which is obviously a bad mistake. You didn't have the prio. If Viego decides that he wants, after the mid fight, that Mal had no pressure on mid because she really wanted to recall, Viego decides to, okay, let's check if he is around, let's make a play on bot side and not be this passive because I'm super strong. I killed bot lane. I think he got a double kill, and previously he got a kill on Mel, so he is super happy. He's doing a really good job so far. Then he might be thinking, okay, let's check this Drake. And as Master Yi, you have to give the top. But anyway, back to my point. If you finish your walls and then you have the idea of going back to Raptors and keep clearing towards top, it's fine. A more advanced concept would be, okay, after walls, you see the wave state, you see that your bot lane is fighting, because if I go back and play this skip here, I can see that Sarat and Ezreal are really close to Morgana and Jhin. And because I know what Viego was doing so far, I know that he will be betting towards bot lane. So he will do a bet like this. And as Master Yi, I am thinking ahead, and instead of going to my Raptors, I'm like, okay, in the first 5 minutes, enemy team starts to snowball. I'm gonna look to actually move bot and counter gank and go into this bush because my bot lane is really pushed up. And in a 3v3, we have a way better chance of actually cleaning up the fight and make something happen, despite being a farming jungler. But in order to see this is a more advanced concept, and I'm not expecting most players to make a similar play to this, but I'm just saying that this is an option as well. You don't have to do this, and you can get away with just farming your raptors and full clearing. That's still super efficient. I'm just saying that even that option is more efficient and better than risking this dragon when your laners are really not in position to help you with that Drake. So if I keep playing the play once again, but now let's play with the idea of actually doing my jungle route, and probably I can keep playing this in the meantime. Let's play with the idea of actually we start on top and path towards bot. Then we are actually in time to make a play on bot lane and counter gank Viego and clean up the fight. And now we already would have been done with our raptors, be in the river, same way, and reacting to the bot play. That way we would have been slightly more efficient and would have made a way bigger impact already. But now, instead, we are doing this betting, we are low on HP, Morgana and Jhin are still on lane, we don't have full HP, Viego is full HP, and now we are putting our bot lane in a really volatile position. We haven't checked bot lane once since then, and Viego is bot side once again. So if our bot lane dies here, sure, we can blame them for being bad, but we haven't looked at them, we haven't tried to help them at all, and there's been already 6 minutes has passed. Viego is already on both sides. Ezreal wants to stay on the map, which is obviously a really bad decision, but he wants that minion wave, and he eventually gonna die for it. I can guarantee you. But let's see. So yeah, we are farming our Krugs. Viego ganked our bot lane once again. Despite Viego dying, he is really making a big impact on his bot lane and really frustrates this Azrael, who ends up feeding, but I mean, he's being spam ganked over and over by Viego, so I get his frustration to some point because I used to play AD carry as well, so I understand his frustration really. And these things really don't help. Finally, if we look top for just a second, and we clear our Krugs, while Gragas actually made a good play. But these are the things you really want to look at and really want to make an impact, because when we see that play on top, we want to keep an eye on it and see if we can rotate or if we have to rotate, because Gragas barely survived. If he dies and Aatrox survives, then we are missing a free kill just because we think that our Krugs is way more important than a free kill on top lane. And then all Gragas is going to see is that you are farming your Krugs while Aatrox is living with 10 HP or so. And this will make our laners really frustrated. So it's a really good job from Gragas. He did a great job. But like, once again, we didn't look at top lane properly, didn't have the intention to move and help Gragas in case he needs help. So this is a common mistake, and I'm sure it doesn't matter how many VODs I would watch, I would see a similar pattern, not pressing tab enough, not looking at lanes enough, and focusing too much on farming. So let's keep going and see what's going on. Now I assume we're gonna bet towards Raptors and just focus on our jungle camp. Meanwhile, mid is winning, but we are not looking at mid lane either. Now we're gonna bet towards bot lane, just farming. And I never see you, I never saw you leveling up your spells once by shortcut. So please do that. And I'm sure I'm gonna call you for that, call you out for that many times. So Void Grabs just spawned. We don't have control over the Void Grabs. Viego will most likely get the Void Grabs because he should be around topside at this time. And this is all jungle tracking. So we are on our grump. Sarat is really low on HP. Bot lane is calling us out for help. And let's see. Well, inside capture is spoilering already that you are going to end up getting a kill here. So bot lane is asking for help and they are right for calling you out. It took you almost 9 minutes to gank for the first time. So let's break down the gank as well, because this is super important. If you want to be a good jungler, the ganking angle you are choosing. Let's see how this goes. You're probably gonna end up killing Jhin, and then you just escape. Or what's going on? Okay, not gonna kill. If she has ignite, you're dead, but she doesn't. So you're really lucky there. So once again, leveling up your spell with your mouse. Please don't do that. You can always just press Control and the spell you want to level up. I don't know if you know this or not, but this is what you should do. So this is super important for any jungler looking, and any jungler who wants to learn and want to become better. First off, you had a ward. Like this ganking angle is totally fine. They are committing. They are super committed. They already want to kill this Ezreal. So in this case, ganking from this angle is fine. Otherwise, you want to always take this angle. You always want to take this angle. This time around, you want to take an angle like this. Don't try to catch them like this. That's not good because they will build up distance by running away from you. You want to catch them and actually meet them at a point. So let's keep playing. Here, super important. Your cursor is even there. It's super important. You are moving like this. Don't make any movements because you made a movement towards the wall. Just don't do that. You don't have to. Just walk in a straight line. Jin is walking like this as well. So you're gonna meet him and actually fight him. But the more important part is that you have a ward. So please just ward this. You have to. You are denying once again valuable information for yourself. If you ward this, you're gonna be able to react sooner. If he's going to flash or if he's going to do anything, you are able to react. And you made that very moment. You really don't have to. You didn't dodge anything, and you are just making the distance between you and Jin bigger for no reason really. And I'm gonna play this with a slower speed just to highlight everything in this play. So right now, it's Master Yi, but basically this applies to every jungler in the game. Whenever you're ganking and you have really important spell, this could be Xin Zhao's W, Jarvan EQ, Master Yi Q, Amumu Q, any sort of CC dash, you name it. Which is critical to actually kill your opponent. You have to consider your lane opponent first. So in this case, we have Jin. Does he have any mobility? No, right? Like a few years ago when we had Gale Force and Jin was building Gale Force as his first item, he had a dash because of it. But now that's not a thing, right? So Jin has no escape. He's really mobile AD carry. He gets a boost of movement speed after he crits. But besides that, he has nothing. The Morgana spell shield is already on him, so that's not a threat either. Jin has a W stun, which is not that important to dodge, and it's not that hard to dodge either. If he stays to actually cast the animation of his W, then he's just dead, so he cannot do that this time. What about Morgana? Well, her spell shield is already gone, so that's not a threat anymore, and it's not something you have to dodge, really, because it's just gonna be on champion and that's it. But she has a Q, which is a root, and you want to dodge that. So, in your head, you should be thinking that, okay, Morgana has a Q, and I want to save my Q to actually dodge her spell with my own spell. So now your biggest threat is the Morgana Q, and we want to dodge it. So Morgana comes out of the bush, is casting the Q, we are dodging it, so it's perfect so far. Then Jin goes into the bush, so once again, now because he actually out-attacked us, we gained vision of him, but please, if we haven't used our ward sooner, then just use it right here. Or even if you use in the third bush, it doesn't matter in which one, all three would have been pretty good. So now we actually kill Jin, perfect. But the biggest mistake will be after this right now. So now we're gonna have our Q, and we are pressing our Q once again. Sure, Morgana Q has a really big cooldown, like pretty big. and she just used it a few seconds ago, so that Morgana Q is not a threat. But how I was talking about Jhin as K-Spell and how he is a very immobile character, you have to consider, which every champion has. Sure, some might take Ghost and they might use Ghost instead of Flash, but most of the time, all 10 champions have a dash, which is called Flash. You can call this a dash, blink, teleport, whatever, you name it. But they can easily escape with Flash, and you have to consider this if the enemy laner has Flash or not. It doesn't matter if it's a laner or jungler, anyone, but you have to consider this whenever you're playing someone like Master Yi, Amumu, Jarvan, Xin etc. You have to consider if you have an escape spell or an engage spell like a Jarvan EQ, you have to consider if enemy Morgana is a threat. Is her Q on cooldown or not? And you answer that question for yourself, or you're saving your escape spell, in this case Master EQ, to actually dodge the enemy spell, then you have to consider if they have flash or not. And you were lucky enough that you actually got back your Q, but instead of being patient while being next to Morgana, you actually decided to Q her for no reason. And now back to the main topic, which I talked at the beginning of the video, kiting. Whenever you're fighting a champion, you do something similar to kiting as well. But this time, this isn't really kiting, this is more like just following their movement. So what I mean by this is whenever you're this close to someone as a melee champion like Master Yi, you auto-attack them, but they are gonna keep moving forward and gonna look to escape you, right? But if you auto-attack them, you are standing still, you are stuck in that auto-attack animation. So while you are able to auto-attack them for the second time, you have to click forward as well to follow them and then auto-attack once again. So just like with kiting, instead of moving backwards, now you are moving forward. And after auto-attacking, keep moving forward, auto-attack, keep moving forward, auto-attack, keep moving forward until they are dead. And like this Morgana, they are flashing away and you are Master Yi with Q up, then you are lucky. You're just gonna Q after them and you're gonna end up killing them. But if you are wasting your chasing tool, then you are just basically giving away free kills. Now you really wanted this kill, but your flash was already too late. Because you thought they might flash behind you. But guess what? You could have ward this bush, you could have ward this bush, you could have ward this bush and get actually vision of them. You could have warded any of these bushes. Yet you still haven't warded any of these bushes. And then just because you wasted your Q like this, you actually missed the kill and you almost died. You were super lucky. If this Morgana has Ignite, you are dead. If this Morgana was slightly ahead, then you were dead as well. Like, if this Morgana had one more amplifying down, you were probably dead. So keep an eye on your spells and keep track of the enemy spells. I know this is hard, but with time, you're gonna get used to it and you're gonna get better at it. But yeah, like I said, I noticed this many times throughout the VOD that you level up your spells with mouse click. So please, once again, just get into the habit of leveling up your spells with shortcuts. It's pressing Control and the spell you want to level up, like I said. You can level up your spells with mouse as well if there is nothing going on, but A level up gives you really good bonuses and sometimes can decide the outcome of a fight. So if you don't level up because you don't have time to click it with your mouse, you are losing on important stats really. Lower cooldown, more damage. So why would you give up on that? Just because you are lazy of using shortcuts. So let's see what you do next. Finally, we made good impact. Wasn't perfect, but it was pretty good. We are farming our jungle. We are not tracking the lanes at all. Once again, we are not looking at the minimap. So you might be looking at the minimap, but you are not getting any information from it. Like your minimap is too small. I have even too big of a minimap just because I'm really far from my monitor, or like very far away from it, and I have a pretty big monitor. But yeah, you definitely should have a way bigger minimap, because even if you play on a 24-inch or smaller monitor, there is no way in hell that this minimap size is enough for you, and you are denying valuable information from yourself. Meanwhile, you have a way big ass HUD, and I have a whole video on the best settings and such. You can find that on my channel. So this is for anyone, not just for you. You can check it and make those changes and adjust those settings, which will make a difference in your game, and will help you become slightly better at League. I'm not saying you will win more ranked games because of those settings, but it will make your life easier. So the next, well, not huge, but pretty big mistake is checking Diego's topside. He got void grabs recently, so it's fair to assume he cleared his void topside before doing the objective. Then I assume you were too frustrated, so you were forcing something, because you are moving towards top, but you have enough gold to actually get your item at this point, I believe. So are we going to force the gank? Aatrox is safe here. Meanwhile, Gragas is really low on HP. So let's just recall and not force this at all. There's no point. If you go there, you won't be able to get your board. By the time you get there, it will be already gone. In the meantime, Viego died. So it would be super important to, once again, whenever your team or the enemy team gets a kill, just press tab and see some information, see their items. Because right now you are denying those valuable information from yourself. And let's see what you do next. You really want to lane gang this, but you really shouldn't. Like, you should be already in the base getting your item, because we are at 12 minutes and we don't have our first item yet, which is crazy. Now we burned Aatrox Flash. Good. Let's run away and get out. Don't walk around. Like, this Gragas probably gonna end up dying. Like, it's really painful to watch what he's doing, but we shouldn't be here at this position either. Just moving towards the bot side and minding your own business would have been a way better decision. So what are we doing next? We haven't spent our gold. We are not ready for a fight. I always tell this. Are you really going to face check this? So I always say this. If you want to become better at jungling, you always want to recall before an objective spawns. 1 minute before an objective spawn, recall, get your item. If you cannot get your item and you need 1 or 2 extra camps, then just get those camps and recall after. But you eventually have to recall and be as strong as possible before the next fight, before the next objective. You can assume that since Viego got the Void Grabs, he will look to contest this dragon as well. But right now, you don't have a full item. Viego probably has a full item already, but we don't know that because we are refusing to press tab, and we don't have ult either. Mel doesn't have ult just yet, Ezreal doesn't have ult just yet, Serra doesn't have ult just yet, and we are not sure where the enemy is right now. Because the problem is, someone might be in this bush, but maybe all three of them are already on the dragon. But you don't know. And if you are just face checking while they already spent their gold and they also have ults, then you are just dead here. And well, you're gonna end up dying. So I assume you're gonna face check this bush and just gonna get hit by a Morgana Q. But this is just super bad. You always want to abuse your power spike. And it's a really simple concept to follow. Whenever you have enough gold for your item, just recall for it, spend your gold, and then when you have ult and you have your first item or second item, third item, so on, that's when you look to fight. Sure, sometimes you have to fight sooner without resetting, and that sucks. But in general, most of the time, you want to spend all your gold and only fight when you are stronger than your opponent. So right now, you are down in items, you are down in ults. What do you think would win? We don't see Jhin, we don't see Morgana, and we don't see Viego. Mal might rotate, bot lane doesn't look like they want to rotate, and they shouldn't even rotate in this case, because they are not sure if Viego, Morgana, and Jhin are waiting in the bush, or waiting in that bush, or they are on Drake, or they are in this bush. They don't know. So they shouldn't really leave this area, because otherwise they just end up dying, and it's really bad. So let's see. But since you're gonna end up dying here, they are probably in this bush, or you face check the dragon or this bush. Meanwhile, your bot lane is basically safe, and you make sure that your bot lane is safe because you're face checking. So we saw Morgana for a second. You dodge the Q, nice. But now, in this case, you know that they are there. Just move back into your jungle, get your camps until you can, because after this dragon, they might look to actually get your jungle camps. So just get your walls, and then just leave. You hit the plant, and you are not fighting this. You are getting out. This is a 2v3, which you have no reason to take. At this point, your bot lane could rotate, but Ezreal has no mana, Serrat has no mana. They really don't want to fight. Ezreal at this point just wants to crash this wave and reset. They don't care about this Drake, and you shouldn't care about this Drake either. It's a Cloud Drake. It's nothing too crazy. And you end up dying as well. Guess what? Viego had ult. And you really don't have enough for your item yet. Damn. Wait, but what are you building? I just realized this, that you even have amplifying tome while you are going Bork first. I just noticed that you have amplifying tome, so why? Just only buy the items you actually have. If you don't have a good component, then you might as well just stay on the gold. It's better than wasting on another component which you don't need for a while. You just hold space. And then your bot lane still ends up dying. But whatever, that here was really bad. And if you look at mid, your mid laner is doubling enemy CS and has 5 kills against 0. You have 1 kill, this Viego has 7. and now you pretty much gave him 3 kills out of 7. Top is pretty much even, mid is winning. So as long as you are even as a jungler with the enemy jungler, while your top laner is even, mid laner is ahead, it's totally fine that your bot lane is losing. This game is still winnable. You still should be able to carry and win this game. Sure, Diego is already massively ahead compared to you, but that's because of your own decision making and not because of your laners dying to every gank. That's just gonna happen. If you can't get over that, then you probably shouldn't be playing jungle. That's the harsh truth. That's the harsh reality that if you cannot accept that your laners are constantly going to end up dying and you are the only consistent factor who can make a huge impact and change the outcome of the game, then you should be playing a lane instead of jungle. But yeah, these were the most important parts of the first 50 minutes, in my opinion. I didn't go too in depth about the macro stuff because we have to work on the micro things first. Camera positioning, checking lanes way more often, practicing the first full clear, and other things I mentioned in the video. We need to build a solid foundation first. And then we can go more in depth into jungle tracking, when to invade, all that stuff. But you cannot build a house on quicksand, right? Without a solid foundation, you cannot actually master the more advanced concepts of the game. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already for weekly jungle content. And leave a comment if you have a question or just have feedback. Positive, negative, any type of feedback is very welcomed. And also join the Discord server for free and paid coaching, similar to this one, where we go more in depth and I really try to make it rank specific. So I only teach you the things you actually need for the next step, and we can go more in depth about the more advanced tasks as well. So see you all in my next video.